If I had to start from scratch in Google Ads today, these are the 10 hacks that I'd use to get really profitable as fast as possible. Most advertisers never figure these out. Now, my agency has managed more than $20 million in Google Ad spend, but if I lost all my ad accounts tomorrow, this is exactly what I'd do, because these are the shortcuts I wish I knew when I started. Hack number 1 is to set up conversion tracking correctly from day one. Now, most beginners mess this up and they underestimate how important it is. You need to do this properly. You need to make sure that you have both browser and server-side tracking set up. Because as the ad platform is getting more and more sophisticated and Google's doing more of the optimization, more of the targeting for us as advertisers, freeing us up to focus things on offers and creative and stuff like that, we need to feed it accurate data. Otherwise, you cannot benefit from Google's really powerful systems to help us get better results. If Google thinks conversions are being registered when they're not, or if they're not seeing the conversions that are being registered, Google simply cannot optimize properly. So take a bit of time and make sure you get that right. Hack number 2 is to leverage negative keywords aggressively. So a lot of Google advertisers, and particularly beginners, are too cautious when it comes to adding in negative keywords. I'd like you to get a really substantial negative keyword list built out as fast as possible. Much better to miss out on a few potential searches that could have led to conversions than the opposite, which is to have lots of searches, cause your ads to appear, cost you a load of money that never go on and become customers. So I'd rather have an overly aggressive negative keyword list than the opposite. The way to start is by building out a common sense negative keyword list. So what search terms do you just know based on what you know about your industry, about your business, about your products and services? You just don't want your ads to be shown for anyone that's searching for a search term that includes certain words, right? You can just probably create what's called a common sense negative keyword list to get started. And then after that, you want to regularly check your search terms report, see what searches are causing your ads to be shown, and add in anything that you don't want your ads to cause to be shown in as a negative keyword, and make sure your ads are continue to be put in front of those people. And like I said, be more aggressive. You don't just want to filter out irrelevant searches, things you go, that's not really relevant to my products and services, but you can go one step further and actually prevent your ads from being shown to searchers where the search is kind of relevant to what you do, or perhaps something that you do offer, but really that's not really where you specialize. Other companies would better serve them, and you really want to focus in, because our job as Google advertisers is not to get our ads in front of as many people as possible. It's to get the best return possible from our Google ad spend. And you do that by being hyper focused and making sure your ads are shown to the best possible prospects that you can serve the best and that you can make the most money from. Hack number 3 is to get all warm audiences added to your ad account. Now, this is of course assuming you have some warm audiences already. If you've got people on an email list, for example, make sure that data is imported into your Google ad account. Let Google know who these people are. That's really going to help Google learn early on. If they know that, these are the people that have bought previously, or these are the people that signed up to newsletter, these are the people that are interested in this business's stuff, that's going to save Google a lot of time and save you budget when it comes to testing to figure out, right, we should start advertising to people that are just like them. Now, I've got some more hacks for you in a second, but first I want to quickly let you know about my mentorship program, which gives you all the support you need to get the best possible Google ad results. And included in my mentorship program are multiple daily live calls and Q&As with me and my expert team members, unlimited one-to-one support, so you can ask us any questions you've got. We can review ads, your overall strategy, landing pages, whatever it is you need to help you get to that next stage, improve your return on ad spend, and exclusive educational material. If that sounds interesting, there is a link in the video description below. Click on that, come through to a page on the website, book in a free, no obligation call with one of my team members to find out more. Hack number 4 is to start with search campaigns and then expand. Now, when most people think of Google ads, particularly beginners, they think of search ads. They think that their ads are going to appear in front of people that are searching on Google for something that is closely related to their products and services. So that's the easiest to understand. It's probably one of the easiest campaign types to set up. You don't need to have any creative expertise, for example. You can just have text-based ads. Google does a lot of the heavy lifting for you now, particularly with things like AI Max. So I think that's a good place to start. People also have more intent when they're being advertised to via the search network, more likely to lead to conversions, more specific. That then puts conversion data in your ad account, which would allow Google to extrapolate and optimize campaigns and put ads in front of the right people if you were to then expand to other Google ad campaign types. And that is something that I would recommend. A lot of Google advertisers start with search and they stick with search. They never use a performance max campaign or a demand gen campaign or put ads on display or put ads on YouTube. And I think they miss out massively. Because there is higher intent with search, it's very expensive. You're competing against all those other advertisers doing the same thing. And if you can get started with search, get some conversion data, and then say to Google, you know what? Here's a Performance Max campaign. You know who my people are now. You know who converts. Go out and find them wherever they happen to be. And there are many places within the sort of Google Ads network, within the various different options that are far less expensive to advertise on than search. So make sure you do take that step once you have some conversion data. Hack number 5 is to make sure you take advantage of all the ad extensions, all the ad assets that are available. So a lot of Google advertisers get a bit lazy. They write headlines, they write descriptions for their responsive search ads. They don't bother to take the next step and make sure that they've got proper site link extensions created, call ad extensions, structured snippets. You can have promotion extensions. There's all sorts of different ad extensions. I've created videos on lots of different ad extensions. Some will apply to your business, some might not. But you want to go ahead and create all the ad extensions that do apply to your business. And you'll see when you're searching and you see Google Ads pop up, that the ones with more ad extensions take up a lot more space on the page. They therefore get a higher click-through rate. It doesn't cost any extra to have them. There are also opportunities to sell your products and services to include extra benefits. If you're constrained by the amount of space you have within your headlines and with your description, you can put extra information to help get that click, help get that conversion within those ad extensions. And you can also help direct people to the right places with site link extensions, for example, making sure people go directly through. Now, Google is getting better and better at automatically creating these for us. As an advertiser, you want to sense check and make sure, okay, actually, I'm happy for people to go directly through to that page through a site link extension. Maybe not that one. I need to turn that one off. So you do need to take control as an advertiser and make sure that you add these in. Just takes a bit of extra effort, but can only help improve your results. Hack number 6 is to spend at least as much time on your website and your landing pages as you do within your Google Ad account. The post-click experience, so after someone clicks on a Google ad, is just as important, if not more important in many cases, than actually getting the click in the first place. And I find a lot of Google advertisers, maybe they feel comfortable in their Google ad account. It's easier to tweak and write a few extra headlines or accept Google's recommendations and feel like you're making progress, and they avoid the harder work, which is often optimizing their landing pages, going through some conversion rate optimization steps, trying to work out, okay, is this option better than this option? Could we reconfigure this post-click experience to lead to better checkouts? You can have massive unlocks in conversion rates by making sure you get those extra testimonials added to your landing page, making sure that you simplify the design and the layout, making sure you really highlight the benefits, finally getting that video sales letter recorded and edited and uploaded onto that landing page. It's something that takes extra effort, takes extra time, but can have a massive improvement in your results. Hack number 7 is to consolidate limited ad budget amongst 1 or 2 bestsellers. I really don't want you to spread your budget thinly unless you're starting Google Ads with a massive budget to begin with, because we want Google to be able to optimize as well as possible. And if we've got 10% of our budget here and 10% of our budget there, it's going to take so long for you to get enough conversions in that particular product or that particular service for Google to really learn, okay, we need to advertise at this time of the day, this day of the week to this type of person on this part of the Google Ads network to get the conversions. Whereas if you consolidate that all into 1 or 2 of your best sellers, your products or services that have had the most customers previously, that you know sell the best, if you don't have that data already, you can probably take an educated guess based on what other people, your competitors, are selling most and what they're actively pushing. And Google will learn much faster. You'll be able to focus and concentrate on that a lot better. You won't be spread too thinly in terms of your resources trying to improve, landing pages and things like that. And then also, because they're your best sellers, they will likely perform the best early on, which is likely to give you the best return on ad spend, which should give you the profit to then reinvest into trying to sell other products and services in your range. And by the way, I know many large businesses that have massive product ranges and nearly all their advertising goes into just a handful of best-selling products that do really well to cold audiences. Yes, they might then remarket to the people that have bought that with other stuff in their range, but it's absolutely fine to be not balanced, to be very unbalanced when it comes to your ad spend and be like, we're just going to absolutely push it all into this, all into these few things, because this is what works best for us. And we know we'll sell the other stuff once we've built a massive customer base, which this product or service allows us to do. I've got some more Google ad hacks for you, but first I want to quickly let you know about Fat Joe and a special free link gap analysis offer they're making for my audience. As you know, backlinks are trust signals. They're like votes of confidence from other websites, and the more quality sites that link to you, the more Google sees you as credible and authoritative. The thing is, all the time you're getting backlinks, your competitors are too, and you need to catch them. But if you're guessing how many backlinks you need to catch them, you're doing it wrong. This is where Fat Joe comes in, because you can avoid wasted link building and maximize your efficiency with link gap analysis using Fat Joe's backlink framework. There's no need to shoot in the dark and guess link quantities when FatJoe can provide you a backlink framework that gives you a crystal clear plan. So how does it work? Input your target keyword, domain, and up to 5 SERP competitors to measure up against. And with one click, FatJoe will gather all of the backlink data that you need and generate an exact link plan. You will need a paid subscription to Ahrefs or an equivalent link analysis platform. Get your free access to the Backlink Framework by FatJoe today by clicking the link in the video description below and get started with your link gap analysis. Hack number 8 is to hire influencers before you can technically afford to do so to produce ad creative for you for your non-search ads. So I've already recommended that you expand from the search network at some point and start putting ads on other parts of, the Google Ads world. Now, one of the issues that comes up with that is you're then going to need creative assets. You're going to need images and nowadays, most importantly, video. A lot of Google advertisers simply don't have the skills to produce really high quality video content. So the hack for this, the absolute best way to go about doing this, is hiring influencers and creators to do it for you. And there's a number of benefits that come with that. Firstly, they're normally pretty good at producing video content. That's how they became a creator influencer in the first place. So you've got that box ticked. You don't need to learn that skill as an advertiser yourself. Secondly, if you work with the right person, they have influence over your market, the audience that you want to reach. Their recommendation is going to carry more weight. Their face on a video ad, even on images as well, is likely to grab people's attention much more. You'll stop the scroll or stop them from skipping it wherever the ad happens to be, within the Google Ads world. And that makes it much more likely that people will pay attention, more likely they'll click, more likely they will convert. Your return on ad spend is likely to be much higher. I've worked on many, many different influencer-based campaigns, Google Ads, Meta Ads everywhere, and the return on ad spend that you get from those campaigns is nearly always significantly higher than not working with influencers and creators, assuming you're working with the right person, of course, and there's good audience influencer fit, and they do actually have influence over your audience and people do actually care what they have to say and things like that, because that can go wrong. But if you get that right, it can have a massive impact. And like I said, you don't need to go through the getting all the equipment and learning the skill set yourself. You can just hire someone to do it for you. Doesn't cost as much as most people think. A lot of influencers, creators are set up to do this sort of thing. They can do it very quickly and therefore don't charge a fortune. Hack number 9 is to do everything you possibly can to increase customer lifetime value. So not a lot of beginner Google advertisers in particular think about this very much, but one of the biggest predictors of Google Ads success and massive Google Ads success is how much money do you make from your customers? Like if you make $20 per new customer acquired over their lifetime, it's going to be very difficult for you to have a profitable Google Ad campaign in the first place because you need to generate customers in the first place for obviously less than $20, maybe significantly less. And especially as you scale and your cost per conversion increases, it's just not going to work. But if you make $2,000 or $20,000 per new customer acquired, it's actually really difficult for you to not be profitable because even if you're paying loads to acquire a new customer, you make so much money from them. Now, there's lots of different ways you can increase your customer lifetime value. If you sell relatively inexpensive products and services, you need to find ways to get them to buy again, either through a recurring subscription or just having something that's so good they want to buy again. Maybe they tell friends and family. Or you can work on the premium end of your market, charge a lot more, deliver a much better product or service, work with fewer customers, but they're worth a lot more. The unit economics in terms of customer acquisition to what you get out of it is often much better at that end of the market, particularly for smaller businesses, than it is for trying to go at the other end of the market. Because it doesn't cost 10 times as much often to acquire a customer from a Google Ads cost standpoint that is worth 10 times as much. If you do the basic math on that, then it works out pretty well. So the smartest Google advertisers I know, they are very much focusing on the back end. They're like, right, we don't really care what we spend to acquire a customer. I mean, they do, but not as much as actually, can I turn this $50 customer into a $500 customer with a series of upsells and recurring billing and all this sort of other stuff? Because that will mean that it doesn't really matter if my initial acquisition costs go up by 20%. Who cares? I make so much money on the back end. So that is one of the things that really separates the sort of intermediates from the really advanced advertisers is they focus on average customer lifetime value and how they can get that as high as humanly possible. Hack number 10 is to apply most, but not all, of Google's recommendations within your Google Ad account. Now, Google provides many recommendations. Some they actually auto-apply. You can turn that off if you want to, by the way. And most of the recommendations are good because Google wants us as advertisers to get better results because that way we spend more money with them, we keep advertising, and that's what Google wants. They want us as customers, we're their customers, to succeed because they make more money that way too. But not all of the recommendations will apply to your business, and not all of them are going to be good for you over the long run. Well, in this video here, I run through exactly which Google Ad recommendations you should implement, which ones you shouldn't, which ones you might want to turn off from an auto apply standpoint. So if you haven't already, go ahead and check this out.